What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with Astrodfs bringing you a brand new video. Today's video, I'm going over some players that you should target in Week 6 XFL's full slate, all 4 games. Unfortunately, won't have a video for the individual showdown, so I'm just going to try to get this video out for the 4 games. So let's just go position by position and talk of some of the updates that happened between now and the first look. So as far as quarterback, I still think Ben DiNucci, AJ McCarron are your 2 guys that you're paying up for. If you're looking for maybe some savings and lower ownership, if I had to guess, Brandon Silver's down here at 10-7. Although DC's defense is really good, they do give up a lot of yards, and Houston is very good at getting yards, especially through the air. I believe all 3 of these quarterbacks are definitely playable. I actually like a lot of the quarterback play this week. It's probably one of the very few weeks to where I'm like, yeah, you could play most quarterbacks. So Ben DiNucci against Orlando, yes. Orlando's defense is bad. Seattle's offense is good. St. Louis against Vegas, same thing. St. Louis's offense can be very good, but Vegas's defense is just lackluster. They just can't find a rhythm, anything to go with them. But those are my 2 that I'm paying up for. Brandon Silvers, I could see as, if you want to get sneaky, yes, you can get some exposure to him. But as far as pay-ups, DiNucci and McCarron, we go down. Brett Hundley, still not in the Vegas starting position. It's Luis Perez, which is odd that Perez is cheaper, 8,600. Jordan Ta'amu, Derek King. These are the 3. There's 3 quarterbacks. 2 of them are on the same team that I don't really like this week. That's Ta'amu and King for the DC side. Don't like them in this matchup against Houston. We really haven't seen them pass the ball. They're really, really, really good running the ball, that offense, but we have yet to see them pass, and I'm not willing to take that risk yet against arguably the best defense in the league. And then Kyle Slaughter down here at 7,700, not targeting him. The opportunities you do get this week is Quentin Dormady at 6K. Dormady. I don't know why I said Dormady. At 6K against Seattle. Seattle's defense, we just saw what they did against Houston. And Orlando's team as a whole has just been very, very shaky. No consistency. No finishing drives. Defense bad, a lot of that stuff, but last week they didn't look too bad. Granted, you're playing a bottom defense as well, but it had some life, and paying 6K for a quarterback is some value. Regardless of what he does, Dormady is going to be the starting quarterback. They announced it. 6K, definitely playable. And then Juwan Pass is supposed to start for San Antonio down here at 6K. They had not put in Kurt Benkert in yet for San Antonio. He will be the only other quarterback active, I believe. Sent it out for the season finally. They put on the IR. Not finally that he's out for the season. That's unfortunate. But that they put him on the IR. They didn't put him on the IR for a few days. I assume they were trying to figure out their quarterback situation first. And then Jack Cohen out. San Antonio is pretty banged up, but I imagine Benkert will be 6K as well. But yeah, I think Benkert, when he gets in, I would definitely have some exposure to him. Arlington, a really good defense. We saw how bad San Antonio's offense has been, but they got some pieces back, and I like Kurt Benkert. I think he's good for the XFL. Now, running backs. Abram Smith, 9,400. I'd say you're watching the injury status of Armstead, but how good he was against St. Louis, it's hard not to like him, but it is a favorable matchup for Houston's defense here. But at 9,400, I'm okay with getting someone like Abraham Smith, who you know is going to get volume. That is what you want right now at the running back position for the XFL, is volume. So you get Max Borghi, Abraham Smith, your 2 most expensive running backs, and the 2 guys that you know are going to get volume. I personally like Brian Hill the most if I had to pick somebody. You're facing, for one, you're the 3rd most expensive running back. So you're off Smith, you're off Borghi. You're facing a defense that's very bad. Brian Hill is a versatile running back. They use him in the pass game and in the run game. Gets those receptions at 8,900. He is the guy that I like the most right now. Devin Smith, down here at 7,800. Against San Antonio, another one to where I like him. I'd rather just go Brian Hill. He's usually home targeting. And then Morgan Elson down here at 7,300. Looks to be healthy this week and going against Orlando. And we've seen how good Morgan Elson has been against some of the bottom defenses in the league. And now he gets the worst defense in the league. For the Vegas side, still going John Lovett. He's the guy we're kind of going to. But keep going down. Jermaine Martin. I don't know why. 6,200, like that's a name. Bradwell, if Ellison is banged up. But I think the guy that stands out here now is Jaquez Patrick, at 5,000. Unfortunately, Ballage is done for the season. Very unfortunate, but for DFS purposes this week, Jaquez Patrick, 5,000, is definitely the value you're looking at. We saw what happened last week in that poor performance out of San Antonio's offense, but the running backs got a lot of targets, and I mean a lot. So look for him to be, I would assume, highly owned if I had to take a guess. It just saves you money, and you're able to spend up for some of these wide receivers on the slate. Shakir Pearson, just an animal. I cannot wait. I imagine he gets a call from an NFL team to join them this season, whether it be on the active roster or practice squad. I believe he is truly going to be picked up and hopefully gets a shot at the 53-man roster. Josh Gordon, I'd like to say this is a bounce back week for Josh Gordon, but in all reality, I think if we look at Seattle wide receivers really quick, Blake Jackson, Jordan Vesey, Juwan Green, all these guys I think are playable. If you're looking for value and you want to get on the Seattle side, Juwan Green sees the field quite a bit. Seattle usually doesn't go a tight end, essentially. They stack the wide receivers and the running back. So Juwan Green, 3,900 is a value play for me. If you want to get exposure to Seattle, and you want to get a Seattle stack, you want to get Ben DiNucci, you want to get Shakir Pearson or Josh Gordon, and then you want to get someone else. Juwan Green is definitely one of those guys. I'll look at Jordan Vesey at 4,500 is another name, but as far as getting on the field, Juwan Green gets quite a few snaps. But now continuing, Jeff Badette, 10-2. Getting a connection with both quarterbacks. That offense knows that Jeff Badette is by far the best receiver on that team. He's climbing the ranks. He's climbing the ranks for me as wide receivers. Hakeem Butler, 9,800 is another name to watch out for. This matchup, if you're stacking the St. Louis Vegas, these two guys are definitely the guys you want to get to. Shepard down here as well, 8,200. If you don't want to play Hakeem Butler, if you can't find the pricing for it, Darius Shepard, not only on the receiving aspect, but the return, like this guy is so close to getting a kick return for a touchdown. Seems like every week he just gets that much closer, and that's a free 6 points if he gets it. Dante Burnett, 9,700 against DC. I'm not really sold on this yet. His pricing is just really high. I'd rather go with guys that are going to be the number one target with some easier matchups in Butler, Badette, and then all your Seattle guys. But here's an interesting one for the San Antonio. Landon Akers, 8,700 is back. Granted, it's a shaky matchup against Arlington. I believe San Antonio will fix their mistakes. They won't have the showing they did last week, and they're going to put some points on the board. Kurt Bedenkert, I expect him to be in pretty early. I didn't expect him to be playing when I saw the trade at first. I thought they'd keep him out a week, but with Jack Cohen being down, this is a crucial game for San Antonio. If they lose to Arlington, they fall to 3 games behind. Right now, they're 2 games behind, I believe, right now. And if they win, they become 1 game, which is huge. If they lose, they're 3 games behind, and that's almost pretty much the season right there. So they're going to need to play very good against Arlington. So Landon Akers being back is huge for them. I mentioned Blake Jackson, Darius Shepard. Charleston Rambo's a name, 8,000. That's getting some volume finally, the good volume for the Orlando side. Going against a rough matchup in Seattle, their defense is just getting better and better, it seems. And this is Orlando, who has not looked all that well, but with a quarterback change and quarterback that looked pretty good, maybe we see a change in Orlando. I still like Seattle a lot this week, though. Sal Cannella, 76. Yes, him and Cody Latimer, both of these guys, 76, 7,000. Your 2 top tight ends in the XFL. I'm definitely putting okay with paying that. You're getting off some of that very steep pricing for the high-end guys, and you're paying 76 or 7,000 for some of these guys. We go down, Jalen Tolliver. Weird week for him. Gets released. I didn't feel like that release should have happened, and I was waiting for him to get picked up immediately, but San Antonio was clearly in communication with him, re-signed him. He's back. I like him this week. Hopefully they include him. It was very shocking last week, him not being included. Travell Harris, I mentioned Burnett up there at 9,700. Travell Harris down here at 6,300. I'd be okay for paying for a Houston wide receiver at 63 and then 97 when, I mean, stat-wise, Burnett, yes, is probably, as of right now, the wide receiver one. But Travell Harris, I could definitely see taking this opportunity, and it's a huge game for him. So Travell Harris, 6,300, I definitely like that as well. Lucky Jackson, 5,700. I continue to mention of his just his pricing at 5,700 for one, but two, DC not passing the ball, but him emerging as the number one wide receiver there, in my opinion. Regardless of what stats will tell you, I still believe Lucky Jackson is the number one wide receiver for him, and we might need to see DC pass the ball. So looking at that, Cedric Byrd at 5,000 is another value piece. I like him. Him getting on the field more with Kirkland unfortunately being out. Tyler Vaughn's here at 4,800 is another name. His pricing for what he's done lately is not justified. So at 4,800, another value piece that you get in. Other than that, there's not a whole lot that you could really get behind. These are all value. I won't even say value. I'd say more tournament darts than anything. Pretty much Juwan Green's probably the cheapest guy that I'd feel confident picking in cash. But we'll see what happens if any random inactives happen these next 3 days. And then defenses, obviously Arlington, for what they did against San Antonio last week, it could happen again. They could get lucky and San Antonio just does not know how to call plays. But they're also a good defense. Nonetheless, they are a good defense. I like their defense. It's their offense I just despise. And then we go down DC against Houston. We saw Houston, a different Houston offense. Couldn't really finish drives. Couldn't get drives going. And DC's defense has been really good this season. It's 4,300 this week. I don't mind them. The Sea Dragons have 42. Yes, I'm okay with paying the 4,200, hoping that Orlando has done what Orlando does all season, except for last week, and that is not score points. But Seattle's defense has not looked all that elite. Like I said, they've improved, and it seems like they're getting better and better. But as far as fantasy points, I mean, we can go and look at some of the logs. Like, you see 10 and 11, but you see a team like Vegas, good offense. San Antonio, not a good offense. Houston, I'd say, is a good offense. They get 10. St. Louis, DC, some good offenses, and they don't get a lot of points, which is what I'm worried about. Maybe this Orlando offense is new. I don't think it's going to be new and good. Houston at 41, I think, is a value for getting off the top 4 price defenses. Houston's defense, I mean, all season, like even losing and giving up 21 points still gets you 10 fantasy points. But all season, I mean, last week was the only week they've given up 20 plus points. So I like them. I think this is a huge bounce back game and a really good opportunity on Monday Night Football. So Houston's defense is probably the cheapest I'd go. I'm okay with going San Antonio, but just be cautious with it. The more I look at that game and what could happen, I kind of like the over in that game. But Houston's probably the cheapest defense I'm going on this slate. So I'm going to give you guys an example lineup. I don't usually do this for these slates, but I'm going to go ahead and just take a look and see what we can get in here. And I do want to get Ben DiNucci and see what we could get. Jaquez Patrick allows us to save some money. Tyler Voss allows us to save some money as well. I gotta get Pearson in there. It's just I've not faded him, but I haven't fully put my money where my mouth is when it comes to Pearson. I can't miss that opportunity again. Let's get Cody Latimer and see. We're left with 6,300. We get Travell Harris just on the dot. $0 left. I like that lineup. Only one Seattle player with Ben DiNucci, but overall, I like that lineup. So, hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment. I'm not going to guarantee I can get to them today just because of my work schedule. I'm on night, so it's pretty hard to be up during the day. So, hope you guys did enjoy it, and I will see you guys in the next one.